Hello and welcome to Destined Deployment. My name's Dave and I'll be taking you through this Warhammer 40,000 battle report. For today's battle report, my lovely fiancée Bliss has agreed to play me using her custom Craftworld Eldar, the Fawkes-Toc, and they will be facing my mighty Ultramarines. So let's have a look at the armies. The Eldar force consists of a patrol detachment. This is led by a Farseer. The Farseer is equipped with a singing spear, and the warlord trait is Seer of the Shifting Vector. The relic is the Falchew's Wing, and for the psychic powers they know Doom, Executioner, and of course Smite. In the troop slot we have a unit of 5 Dire Avengers. The Exarch is taking twin Avenger Shuriken catapults. We also have a unit of 14 Guardian Defenders. Then moving on to the fast attack, we have a Viper with Shuriken Cannon and twin Shuriken catapults. Then last but certainly not least, in the heavy support slots we have 2 Warwalkers armed with double Bright Lances, and these are going to be taken as 2 separate units. As this is a custom craft world, Bliss gets to choose 2 army abilities and goes for Expert Crafters for the rerolls and Hail of Doom for that extra AP. Moving on to the Ultramarines, we again have a patrol detachment, and this is being led by a model that you may recognise from a build and paint video. It's a Primaris Tech Marine. The Tech Marine is my warlord, and I have given them the warlord trait Iron Resolve for the extra wound and ignoring wounds on 6s. I've also given him the relic Artificer armour for that better armour save and 5 up invulnerable save. I then have a unit of 6 assault intercessors, all with heavy bolt pistols and Astartes chainswords. Next on the list is a unit of 5 intercessors. The sergeant has a power sword and another marine is equipped with an auxiliary grenade launcher. The final unit in the Space Marine force is a Redemptor Dreadnought. They are kitted out with a heavy Onslaught Gatling cannon, an Onslaught Gatling cannon, Fragstorm grenade launchers and an Icarus rocket pod. So those are the armies. Now let's check out the battlefield and see what mission we're playing. To keep things simple for our first battle report, and the fact that it's been a while since either of us have played, we're going to be playing Sweep and Clear, a Crusade mission from the Warhammer 40,000 core rulebook, but we will only be playing the primary objective. Four objective markers are placed on the battlefield, 2 in the middle and 1 in each deployment zone. The Space Marines win the roll-off for deployment and place their first unit. Bliss decides to use the Warwalker's scout move ability and keep them back in reserve. With the armies deployed, we roll off to see who goes first. And the Eldar win the roll off, and so the game begins. The movement phase is now complete for the Eldar. The Dire Avengers have moved into cover behind the containers. Bliss has then moved the Viper onto the middle objective, and the Guardians have advanced up to behind the Viper. And the Farseer has moved in behind the Guardians, ready to support. As none of my units are in range of any psychic abilities, and none of the Eldar units are able to draw line of sight onto the Space Marines, the Eldar turn 1 is over. Turn 1 for the Ultramarines, and the movement phase is complete. The intercessors have moved forwards towards the middle of the board, whereas the Dreadnought has moved behind the building and the Assault Intercessors push forward into the ruins slightly, but still within contact of the objective. With no Psyker and none of my units being able to see any enemies, that's Battle Round 1 finished. Moving on to Battle Round 2 and Eldar Turn 2, the Eldar gain 20 victory points as they hold an objective and hold more objectives than me. In the movement phase, the Viper shoots across the board to start capturing the other middle objective. The Guardians consolidate their position and the Farseer follows. Then at the end of the movement phase, the two Warwalkers show up. In the Psychic phase, the Farseer casts Doom on the Intercessors. Next onto the shooting phase, and the Warwalkers open up on the Intercessors. Unfortunately not able to get a bead on the Dreadnought due to the building being in the way. The Warwalkers make short work of the Intercessors, killing all but the Sergeant. With the terrain blocking the Sergeant from the Viper, it is the end of the shooting phase and the end of the turn for the Eldar. The Sergeant passes his morale test, and now on to Space Marine Turn 2. The Ultramarines only score 10 victory points this turn as they only hold the one objective. In the movement phase, the lone Sergeant moves round towards the Viper, the Dreadnought moves to target the newly arrived Warwalkers with the Techmarine in support, and the Assault Intercessors advance into the next building. The Techmarine kicks off the shooting phase by firing his Forged Bolter at the nearest Warwalker, but fails to get past their shields. Next, the mighty Redemptor Dreadnought unleashes its firepower against the same Warwalker. This is more than enough to take it out. The final action of the shooting phase is a crack grenade at the Viper from the Sergeant, but it glances off the Viper's armour. Moving on to the charge phase, and the lone Sergeant charges the Viper and manages to chip a wound off in close combat. And that's the end of the Space Marines Turn 2. At the beginning of the third battle round, the Eldar gain another 10 victory points for holding an objective. In the movement phase, the remaining Warwalker moves in to target the Dreadnought. The Dire Avengers emerge from cover and the Farseer moves in alongside them. Finally, the Viper falls back out of combat using the Feigned Retreat stratagem. The Farseer starts the Psychic phase by casting Doom on the Intercessor Sergeant, followed by a Smite which takes him down to 1 wound. The Viper starts off the shooting phase by firing into the Sergeant. The blistering hail of shuriken fire sees an end to the Intercessor squad. The only thing left to shoot is the Warwalker, who even with rerolls gets unlucky and only manages to score 1 hit on the Dreadnought. The damage is only a 2, which is reduced to a 1 thanks to the Dreadnought's Duty Eternal rule. Moving into Space Marines Turn 3, and they score another 10 victory points for holding an objective. In the move phase, the Dreadnought moves towards the Warwalker with Techmarine in tow, and the Assault Intercessors make a dash across the street. In the shooting phase, the Techmarine shoots at the Warwalker but fails to do any damage, and the Dreadnought fires everything at the Viper and turns it into a smouldering wreck. With the shooting over, we move into the charge phase, and both the Dreadnought and the Techmarine charge the Warwalker, and both make it in with plenty of movement. The Dreadnought fights first, and surprisingly only manages to get 3 damage through. Luckily the Techmarine is there and finishes off the Warwalker with his servo arm. With the Warwalker destroyed, that leads us into Battle Round 4. In the command phase, the Eldar gain another 10 victory points for holding an objective. And in the movement phase, the Dire Avengers and Farseer move to join up with the Guardians. The Farseer then casts Smite, followed by Executioner on the Assault Intercessors, and manages to kill 3 of the squad. The Eldar are not able to shoot at anything as the Farseer has killed the Intercessors that they could see, and the Dreadnought is way out of range. This is the end of the Eldar turn. In the Space Marine command phase, they gain another 10 victory points for holding an objective. In the movement phase, the Dreadnought and Techmarine continue towards the enemy deployment zone, whilst the remaining Assault Intercessors move towards the Eldar forces. With the Intercessors being the only unit able to shoot, they fire their heavy bolt pistols into the Dire Avengers and manage to take a wound off the Exarch. Moving into the charge phase, the Assault Intercessors charge the Dire Avengers, with an Intercessor losing a wound to Overwatch. The 2 Assault Intercessors manage to wipe almost all of the Dire Avengers out in combat without sustaining any wounds, and so play the Honour the Chapter stratagem to allow them to fight again, and with this they're able to finish off the remaining Dire Avengers. We then move into the final battle round. The Eldar gain 10 victory points for holding an objective. In the move phase, the Farseer retreats behind the Guardians and then kills the Intercessor with a smite in the psychic phase and brings the Sergeant down to 1 wound remaining using Executioner. Then in the shooting phase, the Guardians open fire on the Sergeant and cut him down. And with that, that's the Eldar's final turn over. Turn 5 for the Space Marines, and with scoring victory points at the end of the turn due to the FAQ change, they advance the Dreadnought onto the objective in the Eldar deployment zone and score 30 points in their final turn for meeting all 3 primary objectives. This allows the Space Marines to just overtake the Eldar on points and win the game. I hope you have enjoyed this summary battle report, and if you have, please remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons. I'd be very interested in hearing your thoughts on the video, so please leave a comment below and don't be afraid to make any suggestions for improvements or future content that you'd like to see. Due to the current rules in place with the pandemic, I'm not able to get regular games at the moment, so these battle reports will be few and far between. But as things start opening up again, they should become a lot more regular. This has been Death to Deployment, stay safe and hope to see you again soon.